Welcome, everyone, to episode 6 of Becoming Awesome. This is AWS's new weekly podcast with Amazon insiders introducing you to the humans of AWS. I'm your co-host, Ray Thomas, and proud resident girl dad. So this month of March is dedicated to the AWS Industries org, a team I never had the opportunity to support before. So I'm excited to learn more about the org and themselves personally. Want to hear more about their journey and any advice they have for those asking any appropriate questions, in our live chat. So don't be shy, ask away, and we will highlight great questions and have our guests give you their unscripted insights and experiences. So we have Michael Morrison, who will be our chat mod for today. So my partner in crime, Jenna Lass, is on PTO this week, but we have a returning guest co-host who I absolutely love, Sonia Holmes, to help lead the conversations. You might have seen her in a previous episode where we asked incredibly thoughtful questions about ID&E, because that's such an important topic that we continue to hammer because there's more work to be done there. So welcome back, Sonia.
Awesome. Well, thank you. It's always good when you can get an invite back. So I'm really, really excited to be back with you all today. I'm Sonia Holmes. I'm a senior client lead recruiter, and I support the Cloud Sales Center. And again, really excited to meet everyone and really just learn. So today we have Vijay Kanumili and Sustin Irvin from our AWS industry team. So first, let's get started with some intros. I would love to start with you, Sustin. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, and your career journey here at AWS.
That'd be great. I guess I first start off when you mentioned, our industries group. So when you look at industries, many different industries, and so I'm a part of our industry business unit. And so my background, I've been in the oil and gas industry for over 20 years now. I guess I'm starting to date myself and feel like I'm getting a little old. But the last 2 of those years, I've been with the AWS team in our industries IBU. And, one of the things that I think really attracted me and kind of was a perfect fit for me, because my background has been as an engineer doing technical roles from operations in the oil and gas industry, then transitioning into working directly with my clients in business development and solving their problems as we make different business decisions. And just like anything else, you make those decisions based on data. So when I transitioned into AWS, the role that I fit in now is business development for our global data platforms. And that's it's like perfect alignment of all my industry experience now getting married to, I would say, the technical capabilities or toolbox that AWS have, that I can now work with the exact same customers, but then now show them how they can use technology to gather all this data to be able to start continuing to make those business decisions. So as a business development lead for Americas, I basically assist with customers all the way from, I would say, in Canada down to Brazil on how do we manage our data, in AWS for customers.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Vijay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. Good afternoon, folks. And my name is Vijay Kanumili. I think this summer it'll be 4 years in AWS for me. So I'm in AWS industries as well. And my role today I support almost all industries. So a little bit more about AWS industries. So these are what we call our global companies. Which are the largest companies, which are already in cloud. They're spending a lot of money on the cloud. So we have set up this industry focus where we help these customers, these companies, develop industry solutions. So we have this focus developing this industry solutions. So we consider ourselves as leading the way in developing cloud solutions for these customers. So the role I'm in is customer solutions management. So what we do as part of this role is we work with the CEOs and the CIOs and some of the senior leadership for each of our customers. We understand what their strategy is. We understand how they want to differentiate themselves in the market. And then we essentially try to bring the AWS resources to help them meet those business goals in cloud. So that's what this role does. And more recently, so right now, I kind of step back, and then so I support our entire function on CSM strategy. What it means is, I develop tools, processes, mechanisms for us to meet our customers' needs better. So as part of this, I'm also the product owner of a tool called Customers Cloud Maturity. So what we do is, we go in, we help the customers assess themselves in about 40 different capability areas and how they're doing today in the cloud and what those opportunities are. We allow them to benchmark. We allow them to see how they're doing with respect to the industry. And then again, help them identify, prioritize, and work with those customers.
Awesome. So Vijay, you mentioned that you were here for about 4 years. I'm always curious, because I feel like we learn so much about ourselves here at AWS and in a short time as well. I would love to know, what was the most surprising thing that you've learned about yourself in your time here?
Yeah, Sonia, so you said it. When I first came to AWS, I would say it's a fire hose, right? So there's so much information coming in from all different directions. I mean, there are new products, I would say new features released almost every day. So, and then as we come in, we have to get all that information in. And at the same time, we have to be capable to learn those new skills. So most of my background has been in finance. And then when I came in, I joined the media and entertainment team. So it was a completely different industry to what I was accustomed to. It was fun. So, you have to learn on the job. There's just so many new things. And then I think that's one thing I learned about myself. I mean, if you have the passion, it doesn't matter. The new skills, new industries, they're up for it. And that was fun.
Awesome.
Thank you, Vijay. Now we're talking about learning, and then we'll go over to you, Sustin, because I'd love to hear about your side as well. But were there any specific mechanisms or groups or teammates that helped you learn faster? Because I know, like we say, it's like drinking out of a fire hose, and you got to go at times. How did you manage that pressure and learning something new here?
I'll go first, and I'll when Vijay mentioned the fire hose, that's an understatement, I will say, of the amount of information, and I learned very quickly because I hired on during the pandemic. So everyone was working remotely. And so all of this information that's sitting in, online for me here to absorb was very overwhelming. But one of the things that was very beneficial as when connecting with your teammates and knowing the superpowers of different individuals and to know who to reach out with to be able to ask specific questions to became very valuable. One of the tools that I think was awesome from an Amazon perspective is the onboarding process. I think that Amazon does a great job the first 90 days of onboarding employees, because part of that onboarding process, outside of information about the job, outside about general cultural information, there's individuals that have identified, like maybe 10 individuals that, hey, for your role, you need to know this person. And you set up a call or you set up a meeting with those individuals, and you don't know who they are. You don't know where they fit in the organization. But because they were on your onboarding, you reach out to them, you set up this meeting, and it starts to connect the dots for you. So I think, being able to have those personal interactions, my first few months within the company allowed me to, what I would consider to normally take like 3 years to develop those relationships, I was able to get it in the first 3 months based on our onboarding process. So utilizing, I would say, individuals with experience, individuals that's in not necessarily your specific, if you want to call it organization, but outside, but touch your organization, became very helpful in learning and understanding how to, I would say, be successful within the company.
Add to that, though, I agree with Sustin. I think, the onboarding process we have in AWS is some of the best I've seen anywhere. It gives us the time, it gives us a very clear plan, and that really helps us with, it gives us a structured way to, I guess, take in all the information. Absolutely the best. And again, I agree with Sustin, right? It's a relationship too, reaching out to people, understanding, who have which strengths, and then, learning from them. I had some great mentors coming in, and I think that helped me a lot initially.
I love that. That actually brings another question to my mind, because it is that time of year where we, go through our process here and we learn our superpowers. And Sustin, you talked about that a little bit, just learning your own superpowers and the strengths of others. I would love to know if you both, we go through our process. Have you discovered your unique superpower here? And if so, like, how did you uncover it here at AWS? And what are you doing to leverage it? We'll start with you, maybe.
I'll go. One of the things when Vijay mentioned he kind of had a finance background and he was able to transition into, the media studio, and that's pretty awesome. And I take my experience. I've been in the oil and gas industry for my entire career, and one of the things that I consider to be my superpower was, and it was also, I would say, a barrier that I was very concerned about when I transitioned from oil and gas industry to now a technology role inside of the industry as well, is that I was like, man, I may not be tech savvy enough. I was really concerned, right? And so with that said, I think the transition and concern about being able to make that transition was tough, right? And what I learned is that my superpower was that, one, being myself, understanding what my background is, and what it allowed me is my teammates, they'd never been on all rig before. They never drilled a well before. They never completed a well. But I have done all those things. So it allowed me to be able to, I would say, give them examples or put them in scenarios where they can now take our superpowers for the toolbox, the services we provide. How do we combine my experience as a non-tech individual with a person that has no industry experience but has a tech background? How do I combine those two things to be able to provide a solution to the customer? So I learned very quickly, but my superpower here was to take my experiences and to be able to connect them with the right individuals to connect the right solution for the customer.
Awesome.
I'll tell you, my superpower, for folks who don't know AWS, there's this popular term called two pizza teams. So which means that, we have just so many teams all across who are working the small units and structures, working on different things. And in my role, for us to get done, it's really important to understand who those different teams are, be able to make the connections so that we can get, there's a lot of good work happening, but it's happening all across AWS. So I would say my superpower is being able to connect to those different teams, different individuals all across, and bring them together to get something done for our customers. I think I really got good at it, and especially with the COVID, with Slack has been really useful. Great, reaching out to different teams. Everybody's on the same page now. It's just a Slack away.
That's awesome. It's fascinating. I always like to learn from others about how they learn, how they interact with each other. And we talked about superpowers, and Sonia, I'd love to learn what your superpower is, but the feedback I've gotten was that I'm good at humanizing what we do and bringing the people together, which is what this show is all about, right? And I think want to make sure that people get to learn more about the person next to them, whether they're working on the same team or not. And Sustin and Vijay, if I'm correct, you're both in the same org and you've never met each other. Am I correct?
That is correct.
All right. So let me ask you a question. Is there any way that a business developer actually interacts with a CSM?
Yeah, so in a couple of ways, right? I don't see the surprise that we haven't met just because our group is global. So we have people, across the world. So we are just vastly distributed. We're not in one place. And two, as a CSM, because as we work with the customers and understand what they want to do, then, we reach out to folks like experts like Sustin, if there's a need, and then, get them involved. So for POCs, we're talking to the customers. So we see ourselves as the first interface and then involve Sustin as an expert to come and help us.
No, that's actually correct. And one of the things and I love working with CSMs because, once I build a relationship with a customer and we move to that, POC, proof of concept, or most lovable, valuable product, whatever you want to call it, you need someone that's going to be able to really drive, that ideal or that value all the way to the finish line. And working with a CSM to do that becomes, very valuable to the customer. Some of our customers have assigned CSMs so that if I'm working for a customer, I go and talk to that CSM first, or vice versa. If I have a customer and I need a CSM, I would use them as well. So it really is something that normally naturally happens. But to Vijay's point, with such a large organization that we just haven't been able to overlap from those specific interactions.
But one thing I do notice that you both overlap is your love of sports. I know that you're both big sports junkies, and I think from reading our internal phone tool, as we call it, Sustin, that you are. What is it? The Who Dat team? Tell me about that. What is that? I know it's about the Saints.
Come on, Ray, you got to get it right, man. It's the Who Dat Nation. It's the Who Dat Nation, So, I'm originally from Louisiana, right outside of New Orleans. So I was born a fan, but I consider myself not just a fan. I'm an investor. I have my helmet right there, if you can see. And I say I'm an investor because I've been a season ticket holder for a long period of time. Currently live in Houston, but I travel back as much as possible to be able to go and cheer on my Saints. We got a new quarterback this year, so we'll see how that goes. But not only do I love, I would say, football. I'm a very, as I've aged, I would say I have transitioned from those truly, truly physical sports such as football and basketball, and I've become a big golfer. So, if you don't find me watching football, and I live in Houston, so the weather's beautiful all the time. So I do my best to play as much golf as possible if I'm not working.
Vijay, I think you golf as well.
No. So this would come as a surprise to Sustin. So I was in Louisiana for 5 years, and I became a huge Saints fan. So I know the Who Dat Nation. So followed Drew Brees and Sean Payton for the last 10, 15 years. So I moved to Ohio 15 years ago, and I still follow Saints. The Bengals and the Browns are starting to play good, so I'm making myself go watch their games. But I just can't seem to get off. I guess I'm just too faithful Saints fan.
It's okay. Joe Burrow is a Cincinnati quarterback, so I cheer for him as well since he came from LSU. So that's okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And I do play a lot of sports too, not golf though. Ohio is too cold, so we can only golf during summer. But I do play tennis and badminton, so I still play. And I essentially watch every sport, maybe except for ice hockey. Still not gotten into that, but everything else.
Awesome.
Well, I would love to chime in and ask a question here, because it is Women's History Month. And it's a time where we, take the time to really celebrate women's, contribution to society, American history, and our culture. And I'd love to, take that perspective and really, learn about any contributions that a woman has made to your, career, to you professionally or personally. I'd love to hear about the impact that a woman has had on your career that shaped you in any way. Sustin, can we start with you?
Yes, I love this question for multiple reasons. And hopefully I won't go too long here, but I will say that I'm not a big holiday person, but it's two holidays I love. One is my birthday, and the second one is Mother's Day, because I think mothers are the most amazing people in the world. So with that said, my most influential woman for me obviously is my mother, and she was an educator, so I've learned a lot of things by her. And watching her, develop so many different young individuals over their lives that, it's great to be able to see how she impacted individual lives. So I would say that's the first woman that has meant so much to me. Second, throughout my career, I've been truly blessed to have very strong women. And in the oil and gas industry, there was not many women in, I would say, senior roles. And, one woman that really impressed me, her name is Sherry Williams, and she was the corporate secretary for the organization that I used to work for. And I asked her one day, what makes you so strong? And she's like, Sustin, I'm the only woman in the room, so I need to make, and her job was to manage the board of directors. And she said, I needed to make sure that I can be the strongest person in the room. So that's where I'm used to. And it kind of really, I reflected, I saw a lot of my mother in her as she managed the classroom, she managed the boardroom. So I saw that. And now my current role, for the first time in my entire career, I have a female manager. Her name is Kim Pataletti. And I will say, hands down, I wish I always had a female manager in my past positions for many reasons. One, I think that there are certain, I would say, things that I had never noticed before because I never had the opportunity to be exposed to having a female as a manager. And Kim has been a very, I would say, manager that it makes everyone feel very inclusive. She does a very good job of organizing and very resourceful. Obviously, in Amazon, you have to be knowledgeable because there's so much information, and she has been like a wealth of knowledge with her experience from that standpoint. But to me, the biggest thing that she does is she really includes everyone from the team for his input, feedback, and allow us to be able to make decisions that we can go forward to together. So I've been blessed, one, with my mother, two, with other individuals in the industry, and currently with my current manager being a female has been amazing for me.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Vijay, I'd love to hear from you about that as well.
Yeah, so, sure, I mean, Sustin's lucky he had a female manager, but, unfortunately, I did not have any female managers in my career. But I can tell you one thing, over my career, I've managed some mega huge complex programs and projects with millions of dollars. And I've had some tremendous teammates, who were women. And I would say there's an instance a long time ago, I was managing this huge complex program. And I would say my second in hand, we both, there was a woman, we worked together. That was one of the best programs and projects we delivered. I think it's because the dynamics, the diversity of thought we brought together. And then, I 100% absolutely encourage and then, recommend that diversity of thought in your teams and to have that female leadership all across, because, that makes not only the projects and not only what you're working on so much better. So, my experience has been some really good teammates. I'm lucky to work both prior to AWS and even at AWS.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. I mean, Sonia, what about you? I want to bring you on. Who inspires you? Who's some of the people women in your life that really inspires you to be who you are today and where you want to go?
Yeah. So, my mom, first of all, she's definitely made a huge impact on who I am. And my mom and my grandma, they're like the two women that I always think about when I think about being a strong woman. I'm a mom of 4 girls. So, I have 4 little ones, 4 girls who are watching me, and, I'm already inspired by who they become. I see them and I watch them, they're bold. They're already on stage using their voices, and they're raising their hand, they're sharing their opinions, and they're also just being kind people. And they inspire me, honestly, to show up the way that I do every day and to be a better person every day. So those are the people who really, really just impact me and shape me, and it fuels how I show up in every area of my life. It fuels how I show up as a person to work. It fuels how I show up in my relationships. It just fuels me in all areas. But I've also been blessed to also have really strong women, just role models in my career as well too, who've made an impact on me, who are mentoring me. I currently have an amazing mentor, and I learn so much from her every time we connect. Can't wait to my conversation with her tomorrow, as a matter of fact. But yes, that's a little bit about me and who's impacting me.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. I mean, it's I have one daughter about to turn 13, so she's the one that's been the person that's really driving everything that I do these days. And one of the reasons why we are having, this program is to make sure that she has a fair opportunity later on, as she grows. She's actually in an all-girls STEM school right now in New York City. And from the junior high school phase till high school altogether, 7-year computer science program. So it's I look at these women and want to make sure that they have such a great shot in the future that I'm going to do everything possible, including using this platform to give them a shout out and bring awareness of what the great things that school is doing. So going to that, Sustin, is there anything personal or anything that you want to share? Is there anything that means a lot to you? It could be any groups or any kind of anything that really inspires you that you take part in.
One of the things that one, I'm gonna steal from you, Ray, and give a shout out. I have two boys because I would say it take a special man to raise girls, and I wasn't blessed to be able to raise girls. So I have two boys, and one just recently graduated, valedictorian, computer science, Southern University. HBCU, number one, and the other one is his senior year in computer science. So ready to get him off the books, so they, I would say, motivate me. Actually, both of them in technology, they were the ones that also pushed me to move into a tech role because they're, as they decide on how they start their careers, that kind of, I would say, motivated me to say, okay, let me look at something a little bit different, moving forward from that standpoint. But I would say, you said inspired, right? Like kind of motivate, inspire, other outside of, I would say my boys. I would say my wife, she constantly, I would say, challenges me, and kind of she also works in the industry, and she's a software engineer, so she's always, I would say, challenging me in many different ways. So that's been, I would say, a true blessing for me to have individuals that motivate me and challenge me to continue to grow and move forward.
That's awesome. What about you, Vijay?
Growing up, I would say, my dad was a huge motivator for me because he was, I guess, so he was a very senior level exec in a large company. So it was always a standard for me, to kind of reach up to what he did. But and after coming to AWS, I tell you, so one thing which really motivates me here is the culture of AWS itself. The culture of innovation. It's because in the role I'm in, it gives us such an opportunity to pick up what I'm passionate about and really work on it and take it to our customers. And then the support I have from my managers and their managers in terms of, yep, we believe, go for it. And the way we do it is, if you have an idea, we write a narrative and make sure people buy into that. That kind of motivates me because now you're working on what you're really passionate about, and then you're taking it out. So I would say, so personally, my dad was growing up, and then now just the culture, and then being able to work on what I think I believe, and the managers over here, my managers, believe, and giving me the support to do that.
It's fantastic to hear. I know we
Hey,
only
Ray,
have,
one thing, if you don't mind me adding, because Vijay kind of hit up another one for me. In my previous employer, I was, in oil and gas industry. You didn't have as much diversity as we would like to have. And so in 2009, I actually founded the first employee resource group, affinity group at that company. And, we went from having two members to, when I left, it was approximately around, 2,500. And so to see that growth in an employee resource group was something that was a passion of mine, and helped in everything from retention to recruiting and all those good things. But when I came to Amazon, and as Vijay mentioned around the culture, man, the culture we have been, which is Black Employee Network at Amazon, and I've been blown away with how Amazon is all in on diversity. I mean, the things that I had from a budget perspective, and I think is what we would do in a week at Amazon versus a year, in other companies. And that just lets me know that there is a lot of diversity and inclusion and equity at Amazon, and I really appreciate that, and it's very motivating. Sorry, I just wanted to add that in because Vijay kind of hit a button for me.
It's all good. That was so important, and perfect way to end it. So we only have less than a minute left, but that was a great point to end this on. And I want to thank all of you for joining in. Sonia, thank you for being an incredible co-host. Vijay and Sustin, sharing your experiences here, and it's I hope people listen and realize what it's been like for you. Whether they want to work here, don't want to work here, it's okay. But we want people to know what your experiences have been. One last thing I want to share is this link. This is our sister podcast. It's called She Builds. So we would love people to attend this and take a look at some of the incredible female leaders listed, that will be speaking at this event as well. One of the managers, Claire Holly, is one of the moderators and one of the people that runs She Builds. And this is a fantastic opportunity to continue elevating women in tech. And let's keep on doing the work. All right. So thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.